Well, hi everybody. This is Rob Decker along with Brian Jesperson, and we are going to be here doing the Rug Lounge tonight. Brian, tell everybody hi.
Hey, how you doing?
Really good to be back after Thanksgiving break. I had a wonderful Thanksgiving, lots of family, lots of food. It was amazing. I think I've probably gained 20 pounds that I'm going to have to do something with here shortly. So, the first thing I want to do is share a video. And Brian, you and I have been involved in discussions for years about cleaning rugs on site in someone's house and how there's several different ways that that can be a bad idea. And so I want to go over this video that I found and look at what they're doing and talk about the reasons why. We don't want to put people down. We want to try to help them and help them understand that why this could go very, very wrong in a very short time. So there we go. Okay, so if you see, he's got okay, that there we go. He's got beige carpet that he's cleaned, and now he's going over this rug with hot water extraction, and it looks like his jets are going. You know what I mean? He's not at like 300 psi or anything.
Yeah.
He's got steam coming out of that thing, and yeah. Um, so what's your impression? I mean, it looks like he's actually making a pretty good difference on the rug.
Here's
So,
here's the here's the thing I say when you have something like that. You got to realize a lot of times that the foundation of that rug is cotton. And
mm,
you just put super hot water on that cotton. So what's that do? It ends up shrinking that cotton. So what happens is that later on, when you leave, it might look good right there, but it might actually start. But as it starts to dry as well, it'll start to buckle. And people will call and say, "Hey, yeah, somebody cleaned the rug in the house, and I don't understand, but it has like waves on the rug." And that's what's going on, is that you just took the foundation that has not been maybe even pre-shrunk on a lot of those rugs, and now you really tightened it up, and now you got a bunch of problems with that. And like this rug, I mean, it's hard to tell, but I've been to somebody's house and went inside and went to go grab their rug, and the imprint of the actual color of the rug itself, it ended up bleeding on the white carpet. And it's like he had two rugs. And the bad thing was it was in a space that just that I mean you couldn't even replace the room. It was all tied in all together, big open concept. Another thing I don't really like about this necessarily is that there's going to be some moisture to the back, and it's going to get trapped inside there, and it's not going to be able to dry as well as it probably should. And it's just going to take a lot longer, and then you're going to probably have a little bit of odor problem. And that, speaking of that as well, if you do have a rug that you're trying to clean like this in the house, and hopefully you vacuumed it. I mean, there's a lot of companies that don't vacuum, which is crazy. But let's say you did vacuum it. I mean, even rugs that we take it back to our shop and we actually use air dusting and we use mechanical agitation with like a rug badger or a different tool. But you'd be amazed what comes out of there. And you got to realize that whatever you don't see that's actually in that foundation, when it dries, the point of evaporation is to the top of the rug. So you just caused a highway for any sort of dirt, any sort of pet oils. I don't care what it is. It's you just gave it a highway to travel to the top, and it might look really great right there. And as it dries, it might have a kind of a grayish tone to it. It might feel crispy. It might just, I mean, it just doesn't look really that great. So those are things to kind of think about, like whenever you're trying to clean inside somebody's house. And I know a lot of people will try to tell you, hey, it's not that big of a deal. But you know what? There's some pitfalls that you can run into. And I just would rather not deal with the pitfalls personally.
yeah, I agree 100%. Now I'm going to kind of get out of the camera if I can here for a second and tell you this. Okay, there. So behind me here is a 1000 magnified picture of dry soil that I beat out of a rug.
Wow.
So if you really look in there, you can understand how abrasive
Yeah.
that this soil is. And when it sits on the fiber or it gets kind of ground down into the fiber and you walk across it, it's like rubbing it with sandpaper. That's what is on this picture right here is the exact stuff that they glue to paper to make sandpaper, right?
Wow.
So this is the reason I even got this picture. One of my apprentices several years ago, we were cleaning a rug. I was telling him, I was like, we've got to dust it so that nothing is left. You know, what I mean, we don't dust it for 30 minutes and that's it. And we do it until it stops. And this is why, because it's so abrasive. And he said the simplest thing. I wish I had more people around me to say this to me more often. He just said, show me. I was like, okay, okay, I can do that. And I got a piece of typing paper and I grabbed some soil out of a bag and I sprinkled it. I put 1,000 power microscope on it, turned it on, and took a couple of pictures. And this is what I've got. And I show this to people and I tell them, I said, when I bring a rug back, one of the first things I want people to do is get down on their hands and knees and pet it like a cat. And
Yeah.
I tell them, you now feel the absence of all that gritty soil that I was talking about in the beginning because we've got it all out of here for you now.
Yeah.
And so that's important, so that gets into the discussion about this video. One of the things that I have to say about that's so important is dusting cannot be accomplished in somebody's house. It just cannot be done.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing that really sells me is how soft the rug is. I tell every single person, feel the rug
That's right.
because if you dust it correctly, if you wash and rinse it correctly, and then of course you're also using a product, especially like LST. I mean, hands down, that's the best thing as far as I'm concerned.
You better believe
Uh,
it.
that just leaves a handle that's so soft and so beautiful. It enhances the colors. It is amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
it's amazing, and that's why I tell people whenever they say, "Hey, I don't know if I want to spend that kind of money." I say, "Okay, well, somebody that does a hot water extraction to your rug, feel it afterwards, and if you want me to wash a little 3x5 rug for you for free, I'll do it.
Right.
I'll do it, and then
Compare
I
them.
want you to
Yeah.
feel it, and then
Yep.
once they feel that, realize that yes, the dirt's out of it, so you have nothing that's actually pulling it to the top,
Right.
and you're actually using products that's actually designed for wool, cotton, silk,
Yes.
you name it, right? I mean,
Yes.
and then just like viscose, the same way. There's products that you can use, and you can get an amazing result. And Kimax, I mean, honestly, really does have everything that can.
Grand Rug shampoo is just magic, man. Magic. And I did in front of my guys, we did a rug, a viscose rug without going first in. Just because I wanted to show them, I'm like, yeah, we can do everything else right. But if you don't get this in the fiber first and it's the last thing to leave, then it's going to have that stiff handle. And most of the time, I mean, really a lot of times you can run a good shark vacuum over it and it will brush on out, you know what I mean? So it's not, but it's still important to understand the concept so you don't have to spend that extra time. You know what
You
I
know
mean?
what?
With time is money.
It, you know, that's one thing I heard about like a tumbler, the tumble duster.
Yes,
Like
polishing.
okay, yes. So I hear some people and they say, well, it's a really great tool also for like finishing off the rugs.
Mhm.
But the problem about that is that if it was dusted really good to begin with, and it had just a little bit extra time, actually maybe like in the wash and rinse process,
Right,
you don't even need that. I mean, I feel some of these rugs that some people do, and I'm thinking to myself, you've got to be kidding me. That's done.
right.
Oh well, I'm gonna go. Oh,
Yeah,
stick in the tumble duster, and it's gonna. Man, you should have done that to begin with, and they did. But I don't understand necessarily. I think sometimes I think to myself, like, is a tumble duster necessarily a great tool for me? Maybe,
hmm
maybe. But I mean, like using air dusting. and using mechanical agitation, you
It
get so
does it.
much out of there. Especially
Yeah.
I keep telling myself like, you know, it's been X amount of money, and then you can't use it on like a like a tufted rug. Where
Yeah.
air dusting is the absolute best thing for
Oh,
for a
yes,
tufted
it
rug.
is.
Some of the machine made rugs, yeah, you can use both. You can use the rug badger on there, but you
Mm.
better make sure you do a good hands and knees inspection. Make sure you don't have no soft brittle areas that someone may have a pot on or whatever. You never know, a chair, a rocking chair, something, and it's kind of depressed some of the warps. There's some things you kind of got to look at, but like, man, I've seen some people actually stick those things inside those tumble dusters, and then they sit there slapping around all the other rugs, and I've seen them where they actually broke the wefts,
Ah.
you know, well, broke the warps, and then now they're sitting having to do rug repair. I'm like, man, I don't know.
Yeah. Why do you have the labor time saving device that
I don't
doesn't
know.
save you time and labor?
I
You
I
know?
get the concept though, because I do get it, and I think it's fun,
Yes.
and I think it does, and I think it does a good job. I'm not saying that bad. I just think it's kind of a limited thing, but I really do believe that like trying to get as much dust and dirt out to begin with. I mean, oh my gosh, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm kind of shocked by how many people who actually do clean rugs don't spend that much time on
That's right.
actually dusting the rug.
It
Uh,
becomes a financial thing. Well, it's costing
ah,
me so much labor. It's like raise your price then. You know what
well,
I mean? But
well,
don't do a half-ass job I can't handle it.
well. Also, I think when it comes down to washing the rug and rinsing the rug out good, I mean, I see people, and I don't know, maybe I'm just a little different or whatever. I see people use these big old giant fire hoses, right? And they're going across, and it's great, right? It's soaking it, soaking it. But how many times have we actually taken like the rug and then flipped it over and wasn't even wet still?
Right.
How much water did you just kind of waste?
Yeah.
Did you really get it a good little
Yeah.
soaking to kind of let really drink it up?
Yeah.
I don't
Right.
know. And then I see these guys and they went across and did a pass, maybe like in 15, maybe 30 seconds. And then they're flipping it over. And I'm like, gosh dang, man. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess I do take longer, but the ending result is what's kicking everybody's tail
Right.
because I make sure I solve all the problems for the people, and I make sure that like when they get it back, they can feel it, and it feels absolutely amazing. Because I'm telling you, when someone walks on a rug and they feel how soft and how incredible it looks as just aesthetically, and there's no odors, man, you just want them. I mean,
Yeah.
I went to a lady's house. Oh, Rob, this is so great, man. I wish I could have got this on video. So this is a client of mine that I've done a lot of work with, and she has a parrot that's 50 years old, and this parrot, now she's in a new house. They just built a brand new house. The house is like over the top. It's so cool too. Like the colors in the house and the texture is so cool. She has a parrot there. The parrot's like in the dining room part, open concept, like big old ranch. And I take the dining room rug out and I unrolled the dining room rug, and the parrot goes.
Uh,
Start whistling, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, man! I wish I could have got that video. I wish I could have got that video." And she's
yeah.
like, "Man, it's parrot approved." And
Yeah.
I
No
was like,
shit.
"Man,
You know that, and you've had this happen too, because dogs are smart, cats are smart. I have had them get on the rug before I finish laying it, and because
yes,
they love it, they
yes,
miss it,
yes."
they
Yo,
miss
gosh,
it.
I
Yeah,
can't tell you
they,
how many dogs you unroll the rug, and the dog is just so happy. He's rolling
yeah,
all over it. You're like, man, man, the dog just came back home, man. I mean, oh, this dog is so happy.
they
Uh,
miss it terribly. I'm telling you, if they, because I remember Paul telling me not too awful long ago that they know what's luxurious, they know what feels, and all that, and so that's where they're gonna be. I mean, they're gonna pick the nicest chair in the house, and that's gonna be where they sit. You know what I
yeah,
mean? It just
yeah.
it is what it is. So let me get these pictures ready. We have a few what would you do's to go through here. Yep, here it is. So the first one is about a seagrass rug. And basically you can kind of dump all of the cellulosic style. dried fabrics all into one thing because they all act about the same way. Um, but he was like, anybody ever clean a seagrass rug? We got a big one with dog stains on it. Now that, when you've got a dried fabric and you have a stain, man, you've got a hell of a job in front of you. You know what I mean? And he's talking about the best method. So this, I just kind of laid it all out. Well, I didn't even talk chemistry about this or product. It was just about how to get this done without buying the rug, and talking about, what you have. You have a cellulosic dried fiber. It can shrink. It can brown if it's wet too long. It can pre-existing stains can be nearly impossible to clean, to remove. And the fact that it's a dried fiber really plays into what you do with the cleaning. And this is, this even goes back to the video. You need to, if I was to do that at all, which I don't do that. I have done it way back when, but learned better. But doing an inspection is, you're laying your wand down, your truck's running outside, and you're running around looking at things, lift it, like you were talking about, that it had crocked or bled onto the carpet below. Did the guy ever look below it? I mean, maybe he might get blamed for something that was already there, but he didn't know it and he couldn't prove it. And he's the one who got the rug wet. And so he's buying him new carpet. So there's an awful lot of things. And these rugs are famous for having cotton binding around the edges, a lot of times binding tape and stuff, edge tape. And so that's a differential shrinkage can happen, all kinds of stuff. But really, it's about evenly wet and evenly dry when you're talking about dried fabric. That's a good practice with upholstery, a good practice with leather, and a good practice for cellulosic fabrics. Because I did get into a little bit of chemistry here. I forgot cotton rug shampoo and cotton rug rinse would be appropriate. Problem reducing rug shampoo also are good on these. And I know you've done a ton of sisal and jute and all of that kind of stuff. And this is these two products, these three products are what I use the most on there. Do you have anything else that you?
Well, I mean, a lot of times also, I mean, if you have pet urine on there, I mean, it just depends. You have to have a little conversation with the person, uh,
Yeah,
but and you do a good little inspection with the rug, and you can tell them you can try to do the best you can. But I always wet the rug out, and if you got to use a little bit of triple D, I will. Uh, but you want to make sure you put it on there evenly. I never try
yeah,
to use any sort of mechanical agitation. It's hand. So
yeah.
Paul has these incredible the stainless steel poles, and
Hmm.
I bought these big brushes for him, and they're really nice and soft. But I'll just go ahead and put it on and just actually hand scrub. So we'll scrub the rug, rinse it off really good, and then what I end up doing is I finish it off with a little bit of LST. So I'll put a little LST on there when I finish it off, and then kind of just bring it right back to where it needs to be. Uh,
Hmm.
and I tell you what, I'll sit there and you have to make sure on that seagrass that you're just not too crazy with it because you can break
Yeah,
that seagrass pretty easy. So
yeah,
you want to make sure you know that like it's in your wash pit and it's on a good surface that's not going to flex the whole ton. At least that's where I kind of feel. And just
yeah,
you just hand brush that really good, give it a good little power wash. Catching the sides, catching it all, making sure you're doing everything even. And then
yes.
I stick it in the centrifuge. I mean, I'll roll it up, put it in the centrifuge, I'll spin it out, and then I'll gently, we put on a PVC pole. That way it's not bending or flexing,
Right.
roll it up, stick it in, you know, put the PVC pipe back inside the centrifuge when I'm done, pull it out so we can transport it over to the dry tables. And I always put seagrass rugs on dry tables. Uh, I'm fortunate. I have, I have
Several.
some that are
Yeah.
16 by 20. I think it's 28 foot long, and
Right.
you have one fan going 16 foot. It has just enough airflow for like a seagrass rug, where it's not putting a whole ton of tension on there. Versus like maybe like one of the 12 by 20 tables I'll have. and that extra 4 foot that you're now utilizing, you have more airflow going through there in a
Pressure.
way
Yep.
doing it, where the other one's really tinting it up. So I'll kind of use something that does less stress, use a little bit,
Mhm.
fans to the top, a little dehumidifier, whatever I need to use, and get this thing right. And I've never, knock on wood, I mean, I've never had an issue. Uh, I will say that when I first started to work with seagrass, I went and bought like some small seagrass 2x3 seagrass rugs, and I threw everything at it, kitchen
Yeah.
sink, and I realized what you can use on there to, like I don't use hydrogen peroxide on there trying to miss something.
Right.
That is a terrible idea. I mean,
Yes, it is.
you're just going to ruin things. Uh, I just found the best solution for me is basically using, the LST to finish anything off. I do definitely
Mm.
see like the cotton rug shampoo and the cotton rug rinse. I love that cotton rug rinse. I'm not going to kid you.
Yeah.
I love it. Um, I use it a lot, actually, to tell you the truth. There's
I do too. When it comes to, I'll use it on fringe cleaner, cleaning fringe when fringe cleaner is just not quite doing it. That
yeah,
it's good stuff.
there's some really good uses for that. As a matter of fact, I need to order some more of that. I think I'm getting close to being out, but man, it really does help out quite a bit on certain rugs, certain applications. As you're sitting there washing the rugs, and like a seagrass rug, definitely, definitely something that can help out.
And drying in the sun this is one of those types of rugs that is wonderful to dry in the sun if you have the right conditions, if it's not humid and all of that, you've got a good place where you can put it where it won't get resoiled, but it will get nice and sun and all of that. So that's all good stuff. Let's go to the next one here. Oh, this is mine. I typically use an air dusting system, which is the dog grooming tools bound together, and then the sanitaire. I like the old uh, sanitaire beater bar thing. You know what I mean? And it takes a little longer, but man, do you get a good result. Now, I want to, this is almost a direct quote from the first rug cleaning manual I ever got from Paul Lucas. He says, dusting is perhaps the single most important element of the rug washing process. A good dusting justifies the entire cost of the procedure in the amount of wear and damage saved by removing gritty, abrasive, dry soil that accumulates in a rug. So here it is on my grids, and we've got it upside down, and we are just shaking it. You know what I mean? This particular model of sanitaire that you can modify and all that is called a Vibra Groomer. Okay, so it was meant to vibrate, and so when you turn it, you do use it on the back of these rugs, it's amazing. And that, like, this is what I get out of these rugs like this. So, um, and I want to mention that the soil here is red. Okay, so you see the rug is right there, got a lot of red in it. So, um, the one of my guys that helped me wash rugs while we were doing this, he said, why is the dust all red? He said, that's not like sand or clay or what. I was like, no, no, no. There's two things that it is possible. One is that some crocking dyes have actually been shaken loose from the rug. So that could be crocking dye that's down there in the pit here where we're in the dust. Now, also, it could be if this rug has been dried out, it's an older rug, it's been damaged in some way with sunlight or urine, something like that. The fibers can be brittle and break. And so when you're shake dusting, you can actually those fibers that are brittle will break and become a part of the dust. So it's one of those two factors typically when you see dust the color of the rug, which I've seen. I've got pictures of a purple one that was all and actually that's the one I asked Paul about. I was posted on the room and I was like, hey Paul, tell me why this dust is purple. you know
Yeah, yeah.
um and that's what
I,
he told me.
I remember him telling me also that whenever whenever you see like the imprint of the actual rug. I mean,
Yeah.
like it's literally, the whole entire rug is in the dust right there.
Yeah.
It's because there's so much abrasive soil in there that's carving and etching the fibers, and that's what that is. You got some of the wool, you got some of the color. It's breaking it down something fierce. We picked up a rug, which unbelievable, from a client. Was a I think it's a 12 by, it might be 12 by 16. I don't know. We just picked it up. So I don't even know if I even measured it. But we went and picked it up today. It was under a pool table. And I'm talking
Wow.
about a really nice pool
Right.
table that weighed
Right.
about 1,500 pounds. It
Wow.
was insane. There was no moving that at first. I was like, what in the world are we going to do here?
Right.
We kind of thought about it for a moment. When I had taken some of my sheets and I brought two by fours, and it's real decorative pieces that's carved, and what we did
Yeah.
was we put the two by fours on the long side of the actual pool table, and we tilted them down by a 45-degree angle and put the sheets on there. And then we both at the same time, Joe and I, we both like lifted it up. And then one of my other techs, Jaden, he actually started to actually roll the rug like into the center.
Right.
It was so easy. At fifth, I mean that I'm telling you, you grab the side of that pool table, you're not lifting it up. I mean,
Right.
I was like, man, don't hurt your back, please. But I was
Yeah.
shocked by how easy that it was when there was two of us with a two by four, and you're cushioning it between those
Leverage. Yeah.
sheets. I mean, the sheets were by about I don't know about an inch, probably 2 inches thick. As I put it on the two by four, but we just lifted it right up, and we rolled it, and went to the other side, lifted up, rolled it in. But man, you should have seen how much actual dye and actual
Yeah.
wool had broken down underneath of that pool table,
Yeah.
underneath that rug. He was like, "Oh my gosh, look at that! I'm so embarrassed." I said, "Don't worry about it. I mean, how long has it been sitting here?" He said, "It's literally been sitting there for 20 years."
Yep. And that's the thing about soil. And you've seen, if you've ever pulled out a room of carpet and you see like an inverted V shape going into the room, you understand that the first part of that carpet cleans your shoes as you walk into the door. And
Yeah,
then what soil doesn't come up with your vacuum works its way down into underneath the cushion eventually. I see it all the time. I see it on top of vapor barrier cushion. I see it underneath. I see it everywhere. So
yeah.
dust is an important issue. It's like I said, it's probably the single most important factor in washing a rug. And so if you can't accomplish that in someone's house, then if you can't accomplish the most important thing about rug washing in somebody's house, then you just don't need to be washing in somebody's house.
Well, could you imagine? Could you imagine somebody trying to actually like use hot water extraction on that rug? I mean,
Mm.
it's a
Oh
true
my
Persian
God.
Kashan rug, but I mean,
Yeah.
could you imagine somebody with as much color already and everything's all sitting underneath the rug, and like
Just waiting.
you're not going to
Yeah.
catch the very middle part, which of course, if you take a wand, you're going across. What do you think is going to happen? I mean, my
Yeah.
gosh, you just use hot water on there. You went to go clean. Even if you say, and I heard a lot of guys say that, they're like, I'm not using that much moisture on there. It's very light moisture. Man, moisture is the highway for travel, and the point of
Yeah.
evaporation is to the top of the rug. And it's basically sitting in a bed of color and
Yeah.
dirt. And what's it
Yeah.
going to do? Wick straight up.
Coming
And
right up.
you're going to have some sort of issues. I just think that cleaning the rugs inside of a house, even on tile, sometimes, or I think it was a marble floor that the guy had there. That
Yeah.
uh, I mean, it's just not a good idea. It just
No.
really isn't. I mean, you're just not going to get the results that you really want to get. And on top of that, what happens if you make them err? Or
Hmm.
if you got a client, which you never know. I mean, let's say they don't even really kind of like the rug and they want to try to pin something on you.
Right.
Can you just go ahead and clean that? And the next thing you know, oh, look what you did in my rug. You screwed it all up.
I
Man,
paid $2,500 for that. You got to write me a check. And yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that kind of
Don't
stuff.
and don't say there's not hustlers out there.
Oh,
because
that yeah, we call them professional consumers, and yeah,
oh
and I see them when I go like do a personal estimate in home, and when I walk in and they start showing me, they're like, "What did you do? You see where the painter he touched up right there, but it's a different color? And do you see how the guy when he was fixing my brick fireplace?" That all that doesn't look right up there, and they're pointing out what other people did, and I'm like, I don't think I want to work for you. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I don't want to be the next guy that you're like, well, you see what he did to my rug here, that and all that. I don't want to be that guy. You know what I mean? You're not my customer. If
and
you're like that, so I try to stave them off like that
you,
pretty well.
you really got to pay attention to some of these hustlers. I even had a guy who had he tried to clean his own chairs and had
Mm.
those oil rub bronze buttons on there, and the oil rub bronze. He tried to wipe them, and it all started like dripping down the actual fabric itself. And he was
Mm.
like, "Oh, I just need you to. I know you can fix this. I know." I said, "Well, first off, you've already damaged it. It's done, and
Yeah.
I'm not even messing with this thing at all. You know." And then
Right.
he's like, "Well, I could just go ahead and try to tell you, or tell somebody that you do this to my chair. I haven't even touched your chairs."
Oh my God.
But and I was like, let's just agree that I'm never coming back here ever again. Are you kidding?
Right. Right.
You
I'm
know?
gonna push the little button on my schedule that says "Do not
Yeah.
service." Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. There's people out there like that. And at first, Brian,
I average one a year that I
yeah,
gotta
I'm
just
telling
say,
you,
hey, we're
at
not for
first,
you.
you think to yourself, there's no way. I mean, this guy's nice and whatever else. And next thing you know, I mean, you're like, oh, man, are you
Yeah.
a hustler for real? I
Yeah.
even had that one lady. I'll never forget this lady. Oh my gosh. And I about died because one of my other clients said her name too, which is a really uncommon name. And I was like, oh my gosh, she can't be calling, right? Well, I had
Right.
cleaned this Tabriz rug, right? Made the thing look absolutely insanely good. Wool, silk in it. It just shined like a diamond. She was so happy. But I couldn't believe that she actually asked me, and it was white as snow. I'm not even kidding. She asked me if the killing strip and the actual fringe could get just a little more whiter. And I was like, no, it's it cannot be whiter. That's as
Right.
fine as it can get. I mean, literally, there's nothing else you can do. I mean, even if you put hydrogen peroxide on it, you're not going to make it even any whiter, and you're just going to damage it and destroy it, right?
Right.
Now I was like, hey, you want to go ahead and put the protector on the rug? That way, if you get a spot or spill, you can take care of it pretty easy. And she, oh no, no. 2 months goes by, and then she ends up calling me and saying, "Oh, Brian, I got this spot in my rug. You brought it back and it has a spot." And I told her, I said, "You do realize that we take post pictures inside your
Right.
house, right? That's
Right.
documented with a timestamp and where I'm at,
Yep.
everything else." Oh, no, 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 I was there. I was like, okay, it's fine. So we go over there, and I was like, I brought the poster tool out. I was going to just kind of clean up this little surface little deal. And their daughter walks over there and she's like, my mom spilled Freddy's sauce on that rug from that restaurant Freddy's,
Yeah.
and she wanted you to clean it up. And I was like, you got to be kidding me! Right
Right.
here off, right here on yes, that little button on there. Do not
Yeah.
service.
And that way they can't, like, if they call and you forget who they are and you start typing out a job, like, it will not let you type, you cannot set a job for them.
Yeah,
And then you're like, oh yeah, that's right. We had a talk about this, if you remember. And we decided that we probably weren't the right relation. We weren't the right company for you.
yeah.
So I'm sorry. We're gonna have to ask you to call somebody else, because it's we're not a good fit. And and we're not everybody's service. You know what I mean?
Man, you know what? I think that's something that people really, really, really got to come to grips with.
Yeah.
Not everybody is going to be your client.
No.
And
And you can't run into business doesn't mean you can't say no.
yes, and I'm telling you, you just learn that there's just you don't want to help everybody, because it's the ones that, especially the ones that's a little bit cheaper sometimes, those are some of the hardest ones,
Yeah.
and they expect a miracle out of that. and and they don't want to spend any money on your time and your effort to try to bring it back.
And
And
your education.
I mean, you know, just coming to grips with saying, you know what, there's going to be maybe 80% of the people maybe in this neighborhood that might actually take our service, and maybe even 70%.
Yeah,
We'd be 100% fine with that, you know, and then weeding out
absolutely.
those people, and then weeding out also trying to feel people out, as you're talking with them, trying to
Yeah,
figure them out, because
yeah,
sometimes you'll have those hidden agendas. And I mean, luckily I've had about maybe 5 or 6 in 20 years, but
yeah.
they're on the list. They're
I
on.
I average, like I said, one a year. I average that I've had to just say, okay, that's it. I had one this year. I finally, she kept having me come back and come back and come back, and I knew it was new stuff. You know what I mean? All that, and she just, and I just told her, look, you're gonna need to call somebody else, because we're just not a good fit for you. You know, and
Yeah,
I left it at that. It just, have a nice day. I hope you find somebody that's going to be a good fit for what you need. We just aren't that those people.
yeah.
In the story. Well, I wanted to plug Tom's class that's coming up this Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. I mean, I'm telling you, and if you've taken a class with him, you can edit this class, or what do they call it? Audit. You can audit this class at no charge, I believe. Did he? I'll have to see if I got it. But anyway, these are the details, and it's going to be. I think registration was $99, plus a tax and credit card processing fee, so it'd be $110. Um, and Tom is one of the best instructors I've ever seen, and he's got the mobile thing down. Like, he's able to show you, he's got good camera angles, he's got good supplies, he's got every tool known to man, and usually two or three copies of it. He's a gearhead like I am. Like, I want this, dang it, Brian, what do you call it in rug washing? The you got to have all the gadgets. The gadgets
Oh
guy.
yeah,
That's what I was
yeah.
trying to
All
think
the
of. All the
tools,
gadgets.
all the fun stuff for it. Yeah.
I'm that guy, and actually earlier when you were talking about, fire hose over a rug, and you've used like 100 gallons, and you turn it over and it's dry, and it's like, well, where did that water go? That's what I like so much about the rug sucker. And I use it all the time for flush. It's the best flushing tool there is. Plus, I think every rug washer in California should have one, because they have all these water problems. You know what I mean? They can only use so much water and this and that. And it's like, the rug sucker makes water do exactly what you want it to do. Why would you need a fire hose? You
Rob,
know?
I'm going to tell you something, and I think anybody who's actually watching this should take this warning as well. Okay. I think that each and every one of us really need to think about like our water use,
Yeah.
because you watch in the next 2 to 5 years, we're going to have a little bit shortage of water. And
Yeah.
why? Like in Topeka, Kansas, I'm in Wichita, so we're 2 hours away,
Mm.
but they are putting AI centers up, and they are using our water that's going to go ahead and cool all the computers there at the AI centers. And
Oh my
and
gosh.
yes, and if you really pay attention to your water usage and you start to pay attention to what they're saying, I mean, really start to kind of think down deep, like, okay, how can I clean this with using basically the least amount of water as
Yeah.
possible, or actually use the water to my best ability instead of
Right.
just wasting a whole bunch of water. Because in some areas, it could become a little bit scarce. I mean, we were over the. We were in a drought here at the beginning of the year. At the end
Yeah.
of the year, we're already like 3 foot above stage, and they're draining water out everywhere, right? And they, you know what they had? September 15th, a water restriction. And I was like, why are we
Ooh.
having water restrictions? And we're 3 foot above stage, and they're spilling it out of dams and everywhere else. Are you kidding me?
Right. Right.
Because I started digging in on it, and I found out, are you kidding me? Some of these government guys were like, yeah, they're putting AI centers up. And
And they've got to be water cooled.
yes, so like the Kansas River, they're going to be getting water out of it. The Missouri River, they're going to be getting water out of it. they're going to, you watch what's going to happen. It's going to be a little bit interesting.
Wow.
So I think that, yes, if you're in California, you're already kind of used to a little bit of that, right?
Right.
Other people like you and me who are a little bit spoiled here in the Midwest,
Yeah.
and we feel we have ample amount of water. I think that we better start thinking about a few things because
Right.
AI is pretty cool, but AI needs to be cooled in order to work. You know,
Right.
I think all those computers that's inside there, I think all that RAM has to be kind of set like at 69 degrees. I mean, like here at the
Wow.
Air Force Base, they fly drones from all over, everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And
Right.
the heating and cooling inside there is a number one because if those computers get overheated and you're flying a drone in Florida or Australia or
Yeah.
Afghanistan, wherever it may be, right? And something screws up, that screws the whole mission up. I
You
mean,
can
it's
melt the
super
board.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
AI is the same way. They got to make sure that all of that system is actually
Works.
being cooled correctly. So,
Right.
I mean, I don't know. It's just something to kind of think about, like in the future. Uh, I think everybody needs to think about it. You
I
know,
think that's good advice.
yeah.
Definitely
This
so.
odor class would be really pretty cool for somebody that doesn't really know too much about anything. Um,
Right, right. I'm a guest speaker. I'm going to be talking about chlorine dioxide on Saturday and going through some of the things that I use it for odor control because it's probably the best odor control device that I know of for textile cleaners because it's a very powerful oxidizer. It's more powerful than Clorox bleach. If you don't know, it has a higher oxidation number than
mm,
Clorox bleach does, but it takes like 3 days to remove color.
mm,
So we've got this sweet spot that we can decontaminate. And Paul told me the efficacy of chlorine dioxide is measured in seconds, not minutes.
really?
Seconds.
Wow.
And he's talking about turning sewage water into potable water. Seconds is what it takes chlorine dioxide to do it. Chlorine
Really?
dioxide are those little pills that you put in pond water so you can drink it. That's what that. Well, you go get them at the store and stuff, and at the survivalist stores and all that stuff. That's what it
So
is.
stabilized chlorine dioxide that's doing that?
Yep. And I think there's a way. I've heard there's people out there that drink it, and that's not my bag. But I what I've heard is there is a version out there that's called neutral. And the neutral version is what actually people take internally with water. I've never done it. I heard that way back when, and I don't know if it was ever true that Jim, the chlorine dioxide guy,
Yeah,
Jim,
yeah.
I heard that he drank it, but I never
Really?
heard him say it. You know what I mean? I've never heard
Wow.
him talk about it at all.
Wow.
But there are people out there, you know what I mean, that swear by it, and it's
Somebody that
that's not my bag, but I know what else it can do. I'll tell you
so if
that.
somebody has one of those what the rug tanks. Uh,
Hmm.
what the heck am I thinking of? Oh, the wash tub.
Yeah, the wash tub.
So if they have the big wash tub and they have like 1,200 gallons in there, do people just put stabilized chlorine dioxide inside there to actually help clean the water?
Of course.
Really?
Yeah. Or they should, but the problem is that they can probably get uh the pool shock stuff cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the whole idea. It's like, well, I don't really care if I'm damaging the rugs because you can't tell I'm damaging the rugs, but I'm not going to up my price for cleaning the water. Tub washing is, I mean, I'm not that guy, but I don't, there's a lot of methods, and I guess tub washing has its place, but I'll tell you this. I would not want my rug commingled and cleaned. Like it'd be like putting two different people's rug on the rug sucker and sucking them through. It's just not
Yeah.
correct. It
Yeah.
doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound like you're cleaning much at all.
Yeah.
That's cross contamination, really. If
Actually,
unless you have a really good, something that kills stuff. So,
well, I seen somebody this summer that they actually had a wash tub, and I thought I liked the wash tub idea. I think on some of the rugs it's a really great idea. But
Mm,
it's kind of crazy use of water, I guess, in a way.
right.
But they actually did it a little bit probably correct. They only did one rug at a time.
Oh,
So they
wow.
put one rug inside the wash tub and it was actually tumbling and doing its thing. And they had another one that was actually on the wash floor. And then,
Wait, yeah.
they pull it out, then they clean it on the floor. So while this one's over here and it's going and it's just churning away, this one down here, they're actually, power washing, cleaning, using the Cymex on there, rinsing it. And then they take it, roll it up, put it inside the centrifuge, pull the other one back out, put another one back in. Uh, but I think that it just depended on the water. Like if
Yeah.
it was a pet urine rug, they actually drained that 1,200 gallons of water out, and then they put a
Wow.
gallon of fresh 200 or a fresh 1,200 gallons of water in. I was like, holy smokes, man, that's crazy.
Wow.
But
Yes, it is.
but
Th-
it seemed like a pretty decent system. And the thing I do like about the rug sucker and the marinator is the fact of, and I never really thought about using the stabilized chlorine dioxide inside there, but
mm,
typically had used triple D in the past. But
right.
I mean, if you are rolling the rug up inside that marinator on the actual rug sucker and you're using that pump, it is pulling everything into that,
Through it.
and then it's actually probably in a sense probably a better use than actually the wash tub itself, because the wash tub is actually going and I mean it's free flowing, but in that paddle wheel is making it move and churn. But there's something different about that force of that pump and actually
Yeah.
being engaged into the actual
Well,
sucker and then pushed
you,
around.
you remember Joe, when Joe invented this product, I remember that I hadn't, I guess I hadn't really thought about it, but Joe's the one who brought me into the thinking of there are three sides to every rug: the top side, the back side, and the inside.
Yeah,
And you've got to get to the inside. And that's what that product does so stinking well, is
it
it gets it
does.
through there.
Yeah, yeah. I do I I do agree to that, that the actual force of the pump actually pulling it is pulling everything from the knots itself, and it's actually drawing that out of there. A lot of times I know on some of the rugs, if they're bad, I'll go ahead and I'll have my water tank actually dumping water in as we're actually flushing water out if I need to do a good flush on the rug. Hey Rob, you got you're muted.
There we go. I don't know how that happened, but that's the reason I like it so much. Is water is an excellent vehicle for dirt and contamination to travel. So is air. Okay. And so that's why it water will pick that up and move it and dislodge it. And that's exactly, especially when you fortify that water with cleaning agents, make that water do a better job, penetrate more, have the right alkalinity, have the right pH, all of those kind of things. When you've got the water you want going through that rug, it's gonna fix it.
Yeah,
Joe, I have said for years, Joe's a genius. I really do think so. I really do think so. And I love his duster, actually. I don't know if it's been kind of debunked or anything, but I know some people that bought it don't use it anymore. So I don't know what that deal is, but do you know
his
anything
tumble
about?
his
Yeah,
tumble duster he made of wood. I
yeah,
think it was made out of teak wood.
uh-huh,
It held up. It
yeah.
it did what it needed to do. Uh,
And it didn't make a mess. That
no, it
was a whole, I mean, all the
uh,
dust was vacuumed out. That was genius.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it actually it is a little bit better system in a way because you don't have to have that room necessarily.
Hmm.
You got that
Or an
back.
outside space.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's actually going. Um, yeah, that was crazy. That place I went to this summer, they actually had tumble duster, but they were down south, and their tumble duster was outside.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, holy smokes! I can't imagine leaving a $20,000 piece of equipment
Well,
outside.
well, not only that, but can you imagine your neighbors? You know what I mean? Your neighbors will probably hate you because you're just filling the air with all kinds of dead skin cells, parasites. I mean, don't get me started. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like if I was next to a shop that had something like that going on every day, man, I would go over there and tell them you don't have the right to pollute my air. You
Well, the
know,
interesting thing about this place was this is kind of the backside, and there was kind of a wooded area.
there
So
you go.
so you would never see that. But
Right.
but I did think to myself, holy smokes. I mean, do you see some of the dust flying out of some of those rugs
Right.
there? You know?
Right.
But I couldn't believe in a way they had it outside. Now,
Yeah.
maybe they do roll it inside in the evening time. Maybe they do. I didn't kind of notice that. Uh,
Right.
but
That's a hell of a machine to be rolling. I mean, you better have a crew of 4 or 5 guys.
yeah, yeah, yeah. They actually do got a pretty big operation. They got about 10 guys
Mm,
working inside there. So
wow.
they got
Yeah.
plenty of people doing this stuff, but still, the same token, I was like, holy smokes, this is crazy, you know?
Well, let's go into this one. This will be our last one for the night. The customer brought in two, I call it Safavieh, is what I've always called them, rugs. One being wool and viscose that was left outside in the rain. And what's a good method for cleaning? So here's the top, the face of it really doesn't give you a whole lot of, I mean, it really just doesn't look like it was left out in the rain. But when we get to the backing here, bammo, man. Or wait a minute, is this another rug? That's another rug. That's not the back of that rug, is it? Oh, maybe.
It could be the back. It's tough to drug, right? Tough to
Yeah.
goes.
So that could be the backing. It's just a
Maybe.
weird backing that you don't see very often. Let me see. In the top of this picture here, is that the rug? Yeah, see, there we go. That's the other rug. So this must be the one that was left outside.
Ah,
That might be the
maybe.
thing. But boy, oh boy, that's a mess back there. You
Yeah.
know, and traditional knowledge, before I got into chlorine dioxide, I would have washed this really good. I would have washed it with triple D that has chlorine dioxide in it already. And then I would have went to peroxide and started trying to eat those stains away. And I would do it in the dark first at 1.5%, and then I would bring it up 3/4, and then I would bring it up to full 3% strength in the dark in a room in my shop, and then I might start laying it out in the sun. Maybe just get it wet and lay it out in the sun one day and see if that, because I've fixed water stains and stuff like that on fabrics just by doing that. Get it wet, let the sun do its work. So that's possible. But Brian, what do you think you would attack this with?
Well, I mean, exactly what you just said. I'd use the triple D for sure.
Yeah.
And then I just go ahead and after I got done spinning in the centrifuge, I just go ahead and I would probably use the hydrogen peroxide on
Mhm.
there. And I love when it's completely even and damp across the whole thing, and then putting the hydrogen peroxide on there.
Yeah.
Kind of just seeing how it's working out. If you need, I have been a fan of those black lights. I have like a 300 watt and a 500 watt, and I just go ahead and I actually stick them on these little styrofoam, blocks that you actually put on
Yep.
furniture with.
Love
And
hover. Yep.
I used to kind of set it onto the actual rug itself, but man, I put it on a viscose once, and I was like, man, I don't know if I want to do that again.
Yeah.
It's kind of chickened out on it because I kind of saw the imprint just a little bit. I was like,
Yeah.
I could
And
bleach that whole entire deal out, right?
yep.
So it just kind of depends. Sometimes you do need to have some good surface contact on certain rugs. Maybe on something like that, you could. I mean, if you really needed to, but I think a lot of times you put those styrofoam blocks on there and
That's a good enough.
a
Yeah.
little bit of UV light with the hydrogen peroxide. It may only take 5 minutes, maybe even 10 minutes. It's done. It's gone.
And that's one of my pet peeves is way too many people in this industry talking about carpet cleaning more than rugs. Um, go straight to the black light. I mean, that's like pulling out a howitzer when a 38 would do the job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
why would you?
Well, you are right about that. A lot of times you don't need to use the black light. A lot
Exactly.
of times you just put some hydrogen peroxide on there, especially we'll take it out of the centrifuge and roll it out with take a look and see the spots. put a little hydrogen peroxide on there, and then probably within probably next 30 minutes or an hour, it's gone.
Yeah.
You don't have to jack with it. But if it's
And that I tell customers that all the time is the hardest thing when you're working with peroxide is to leave it the hell alone. Let it do what it does. It doesn't need you scrubbing. It doesn't need you watching it. It doesn't need you to put it, walk, it's the old rum peel, set it and forget it. You know what I mean? The old sales pitch. And that's what peroxide is so many people are like, you don't rub it? No, don't touch it. You don't want the the things that accelerate the reaction is not scrubbing. It's just not going to work that way. I
well, I mean, everybody wants to see a reaction super fast.
know. And you
And
got to be patient.
sometimes when you're talking about reduction or you're talking about oxidation, you got to be patient.
Yeah.
Got to be patient. You got to kind of work with it, kind of because
And
air, oxygen, all these things. Even the airflow inside your shop, if you have any surface fans that's kind of blowing around, I mean that's going to help that make that dissipate. But I
right.
mean, just work with it a little bit to begin with, and then if it's being stubborn, you got the black light. You have the
Right, right. We have tools that can accelerate, but we don't want to start out that way. It's just really one of my pet peeves is like, oh, just put some 6%, let's put a light on it, let's get this done, and it's like, whoa, man. The idea with redox is to use the weakest solution that will achieve your results, period.
yeah.
Because redox is inherently both ways are inherently destructive. So you've got to use this judiciously and you've got to use the weakest solution that will accomplish your goals. Period.
Well, because if you do on testing yourself, and you can do it. I remember doing testing where I used 3%, I used 6%, 9%,
Yeah.
12%, 15%,
Yeah.
and I also use it with the black light. I mean, holy smokes! Once you start to understand like how far you can push the rubber band until it snaps, you start to realize how destructive things can be,
You
like
bet.
that fabric on the back of that or whatever. I mean, I was actually seeing some of that just completely disintegrate. I
Yeah.
mean, just disintegrate, and you think to yourself, "Oh, that's fine." You're like, "Holy smokes! Look what I just did." I mean, it's much better to do testing on something that you bought super cheap from Home Goods or
Yeah.
Goodwill or who
Yeah.
knows.
Salvation
I
Army
mean,
or
oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah. There's
Estate sales.
yes, exactly. There's rugs out there that are super cheap,
Yeah.
uh, that are just basically just trash that you can actually teach yourself with. And once you understand how far you can take things, especially like I remember the first time I put actual red one on
Hmm.
wool
Hmm.
and I watched it melt
Yeah.
because I was like, wow, holy smokes, look at this.
Yeah.
You know, sure, it took the red out, but the wool, I melted
Right.
wool, you know. And once you start understanding the parameters you have, once you start understanding the chemistry that you're using, and understanding how heat affects things,
Yeah.
how pH affects things, you just really start to understand that hey, patience is a really good thing,
It
and
really is.
just you know get after it, but just do the least amount of damage to begin with and work with it just a little bit. I mean,
And now I'm going to say for the very last thing I'm going to say about that first video, the drying conditions. That is something that you have zero control over.
yeah,
And there are people out there, certain ethnic groups sometimes will refuse to use their air conditioning. I've had Chinese people that
yeah.
refuse to use their air conditioning. People from India refuse to use their air conditioning. And if you clean a rug on top of their carpet and they won't use the air, they won't, it's humid in there. My God, when something takes long to dry, what happens? It browns,
Yeah,
it all everything, and then you're going back and not only that, you're going back to a customer who paid you good money to do something, and now they think you screwed it up and you have to fix it. And you not only have to fix it, but you have to fix it in their house because
yeah,
now they don't trust you to take the rug out of the house. Well, you're going to do some real bad stuff to it if I give it to you. Let's take it to the shop. So you start out in the wrong position when you start talking about cleaning out. You said, no, we can't dust this in here. If I dusted this rug in your house, you would never have me back because you'd be dusting for 3 weeks trying to get rid of what I put all over this place.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that control over the drying and the control over what it looks like. Oh, it doesn't look right. I have something that I can help that with. You don't know that in somebody's house. They have to tell you, or they can just say, "I'm never calling jag off again. He can't clean a rug." You know what I
Hey,
mean? And it's
think
all
about
because you defeated yourself before you started.
think about if you did bring a little bit of a dusting system to somebody's house, like let's say you use the air dusting, like with the dog grooming. I mean, let me tell you something. There's a lot of times where we have to wear respirators all the
Oh,
time.
we always do.
You
Yes,
know, I mean, holy
absolutely.
smokes, you look like Pigpen from Peanuts. I
Yep.
mean, there's just can you imagine me in someone's driveway and you're out
Right.
there? I mean, you look like Randy Quaid off there, you know.
Yeah.
Say,
No
hey, the
doubt. No
RV's
doubt.
full.
With
You know what I mean? I mean, you got stuff
yeah.
just flying absolute, and the neighbor's like, "What the hell is going on
Yeah.
out here?"
Well,
You know what I mean?
you're putting all their skin cells all over my house. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Thanks a lot.
yeah.
So yeah, you
I
just
mean,
it's a bad proposition.
it is.
Best to stay away from it.
It is the best option, honestly, is just bring it back to your shop
Yeah,
and just clean it there. And here's another thing is there are times when things are going to go wrong.
of
You
course.
just you have to be able to get out of it.
Yeah.
And if you're at somebody's house and something goes wrong,
And they see it.
oh yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I
Then it's
mean,
like,
and the heat's on, right? I mean,
yeah.
it's on, and you're sitting here like, oh my gosh, what's going on? If it's out of the house and it's in your shop and it's in a controlled environment, it is so much easier. And hey, I don't say that a machine made rug will never bleed.
Oh yeah,
I have
no.
seen quite a few. Uh,
Urine makes acid dyes
oh
bleed. So
man,
I've seen Karastans bleed because of urine.
oh absolutely. Hey, that this book over here, I have. Hold
Let me stop the
I
picture
remember I
and
bought
see.
this. I bought that book a long time ago.
I've
That
got it.
article,
Yep.
and it says in there that the Karastan rugs are bulletproof.
Yeah.
Or had like
Yeah. Yeah.
two.
Yeah.
That's
Nope.
crazy. I've seen
Yeah.
plenty of Karastan rugs that have actually had issues, especially with color over the time.
One
So,
of the very first care stands I ever did bled on me, and it freaked me right out. I mean,
oh
this was
yeah,
like 15 years ago or better, and it freaked me right out. I was like, what is going on? This is before I did a really good approach to finding urine and all that, and because I can't smell it. So the guy that was with me, he's like, well, it smells like urine, man. And I was like, oh my God, that's what went wrong. You know what I
yeah,
mean? The alkalinity destabilized the acid dyes, and there you go.
yeah,
Now they're running all over the place, running scared because you pushed them out of your house. They pushed them out of their home. You know what I
yeah,
mean? That's what you
yeah,
did. So,
yeah.
um, well, I think we have had one hell of a show. I appreciate you being here as always, Brian. You're just a wealth of information and you've got really cool tools and you've been to so many classes that you understand these concepts. And so you're just a huge help. And I want to say thanks a lot for that every week and keep it coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
um, and so we'll say goodbye for tonight. We will do this again next week. We're getting several views on the channel, so I'll share with that when we end the show. But getting several views, we've gotten a good couple of thumbs up and people saying thanks for continuing the show. And so that's just good stuff for us. It makes us know that what we're doing here matters because that's really what we want to do is help people and matter to people so that um, they can get rug education. That's what it's all about.
Most
What it's
definitely.
all about.
Most
All
definitely.
right, we'll see everybody next week. Talk to
We'll
you
see y'all.
later. Uh-huh. All right, let's see. Get this. Oh, no.